If you're looking up going, what? I was doing the same thing. It is a rare blood disorder that affects the bone marrow.
Today we bring you heartbreaking news, wrapped in mystery, about one of the most beloved figures on American television, Robin Roberts, the historic host of Good Morning America. Behind the smile that has won over millions of viewers every single day lies a journey marked by intense challenges, controversial decisions, and revelations that have shocked even those closest to her. Many remember the health battles Robin faced so bravely and so publicly, but few know about the internal pressures, the tense behind-the-scenes atmosphere of the show, and the situations in which her image was harshly questioned due to controversies tied to the very network she represents. What seemed like just another routine in morning journalism actually hides internal conflicts, criticism from colleagues, and even rumors that her presence on the program was at risk during crucial moments. And what is now coming to light may completely change the way the public sees her career, and even the future of Good Morning America. That is exactly why we ask you to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell, because YouTube increasingly demands real engagement in order for this content to keep reaching you. Your like is not just a simple click. It is the most direct way to show the algorithm that this video has relevance and deserves to be recommended. And if you would like to support the channel even more and help us bring exclusive investigations and content like this, you can contribute through Super Thanks right below. But if you can't, no problem. Just leave a comment telling us which part of this story has surprised you the most so far, because your opinion is essential for keeping this space alive. Stay with us until the end, because the final revelation we are about to share will not only surprise you, but may completely change your perception of who Robin Roberts really is and what happened behind the cameras of Good Morning America. Robin Renee Roberts was born on the 23rd of November 1960 in Tuskegee, Alabama, a historic place in the United States, famous for its relevance to civil rights and for the strong presence of the African American community. Although she was born there, it was in Pass Christian, a small coastal town in Mississippi, where she truly grew up and spent her childhood and youth. The city was simple but carried strong community traditions, something that would deeply shape the way Robin would come to see the world and the value of human connections. Her family played a central role in her upbringing, and understanding her origins is essential to comprehend the journey of strength, discipline, and sensitivity that she would go on to develop throughout her life. Robin's father, Lawrence E. Roberts, was a figure of inspiration and discipline. He was a colonel in the United States Air Force and a member of the legendary Tuskegee Airmen, the first unit of African-American pilots to serve in combat in the country's military history during the Second World War. The fact of having a father who not only faced the dangers of war, but also the racial prejudices of his time made Robin grow up with the notion that courage is not only about facing the enemy in the battlefield, but also about fighting injustice and the limits imposed by society. Lawrence, with his example of integrity and sacrifice, passed on to Robin values such as the importance of discipline, dedication, and resilience in the face of adversity. Her mother, Lucy Marion Roberts, was equally inspiring, though in different ways. A woman of faith and culture, she stood out in Mississippi for being the first black woman to chair the State Board of Education, and she was also a writer and poet. Her mother encouraged Robin to value not only formal education, but also spiritual and cultural development. Lucy Marion was known for her ability to transform pain into art, writing poems and reflections that spoke of hope, resilience, and love, and she passed on to her daughter the habit of using words and stories as a way to heal and inspire. This fusion of her father's military strength with her mother's literary sensitivity formed the basis of a balanced personality. Firm, yet at the same time humane and empathetic, Robin grew up surrounded by siblings who also played important roles in her life. One of them, Sally Ann Roberts, followed the path of communication, becoming a television presenter, which further reinforced the natural way Robin would deal with cameras and the world of journalism. Later, Sally Ann would make a gesture that definitively marked a family bond. She was the one who donated bone marrow to save Robin's life during a critical stage of her health. This sibling relationship was always marked by solidarity and mutual support. Clear examples of how family ties shaped not only her personality, but also her life's journey. In her childhood in Pass Christian, Robin stood out as a sporty, energetic, and at the same time curious girl. The community was small, which meant that everyone knew each other, shared stories, and supported one another in difficult times. Sports appeared early as a passion, and basketball, in particular, became a central part of her adolescence. Robin found in sports not only a form of physical expression, but also a school of values, learning to lose, celebrating victories with humility, and recognizing the importance of teamwork. These lessons, even though lived on the court, would become fundamental in her professional and personal life. When the time came to choose her academic path, Robin decided to study at Southeastern Louisiana University. There, her passion for basketball took on new dimensions. She not only played on a university team, but also stood out as an athlete of excellence, leaving her mark in the institution's records. However, more than statistics, what she carried from that phase were the lessons of leadership and discipline that university-level sports demand. At the same time, it was at the university that she began to see a possible career outside the court, realizing that her voice, her presence, and her ability to communicate could be as powerful as her basketball moves. The academic and athletic environment of Southeastern Louisiana University gave her the confidence to dream big and believe she could occupy spaces that until then seemed reserved for others. Furthermore, it is impossible to talk about Robin's upbringing without mentioning the strong spiritual foundation that always accompanied her. Raised in a Christian family with Presbyterian traditions, she understood from an early age the importance of spirituality as a support in the most difficult moments. Her mother, in particular, constantly reinforced that faith and courage go hand in hand, and Robin internalized this teaching in such a way that, in different stages of her life, it was precisely the spiritual foundation that gave her strength to carry on when everything seemed to fall apart. In her youth, she already stood out for having a firm, polite, and confident attitude. Teachers and classmates noticed that Robin had something special, a way of expressing herself that won people over, a natural charisma that set her apart. She was not only the talented athlete or the daughter of a well-known family in the community, but someone who conveyed confidence and hope, characteristics that would later become her trademark on television. Therefore, when speaking about the origins, family, and upbringing of Robin Roberts, it is not just about mentioning biographical facts, but about understanding how each piece of this puzzle fit together to form the woman she became. A childhood in a small town, an exemplary military father, a sensitive and pioneering mother, supportive siblings, a youth marked by sport and faith, and an academic education that opened doors. All of this contributed for Robin to develop a rare combination of discipline, courage, empathy, and communication. Robin Roberts' professional career is one of the most inspiring in American journalism, not only because of the achievements she reached in front of the cameras, but also for the singular path she followed to arrive at stardom. Unlike many television hosts who grew up with a desire to work in journalism from an early age, Robin began her journey focused on sports, something that had already been part of her life since her youth. At Southeastern Louisiana University, where she stood out as a basketball player, Robin was known for her determination, dedication, and leadership spirit, characteristics that drew attention not only on the court, but also off it. Upon graduating in 1983 with a degree in communication, she began to envision the possibility of combining two passions, sports and communication, and that was precisely the starting point of her career. Her first step into journalism happened at small television and radio stations. Quite different from the glamour many imagine when they think of television, the reality was challenging. She had to take on multiple roles, often presenting, editing, writing scripts, and even carrying equipment. She initially worked at local stations such as WDM-TV in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, then moved to WLOX-TV in Biloxi, and later worked in Nashville, Tennessee, and Atlanta, Georgia. Each experience served as a stepping stone to something greater, and Robin always embraced these challenges as part of the learning process. It was during this period that she shaped her communicative style, direct, friendly, and at the same time firm, which later became her trademark. The major turning point in her career came in 1990, when Robin Roberts was hired by ESPN, one of the largest sports networks in the world. She remained at the network for 15 years, establishing herself as one of the leading sports journalists in the country. For a black woman, at a time when sports journalism was dominated by men, especially in sports such as basketball and American football, this achievement was even more remarkable. At ESPN, Robin hosted SportsCenter and covered major sporting events, always with a respectful and charismatic attitude that won over both athletes and viewers. Her way of telling sports stories was not limited to statistics or results. She managed to convey emotion, humanity, and to show the personal side of athletes, something that made her popularity grow quickly. Despite the success, Robin never failed to point out the difficulties she faced, such as gender and racial prejudice within the sports industry. She herself has revealed in interviews that she often had to prove repeatedly that she was just as competent as her male colleagues, but she took this as fuel to show even greater dedication. Her time at ESPN also gave her visibility and opened doors for the next major chapter of her career, ABC News. In 1995, Robin began to appear occasionally on the program Good Morning America, but it was in 2002 that she began to join the ABC team more consistently. 3 years later, in 2005, she officially became co-anchor of Good Morning America, alongside George Stephanopoulos. This transition represented not only a professional advancement, but also a transformation in her public image. If before she was known as a strong voice in sports journalism, she was now recognized as one of the leading journalists on American television, with access to exclusive interviews, international stories, and reports of great relevance. In a short time, Robin helped transform Good Morning America into the most-watched morning show in the United States, surpassing historic competitors such as NBC's Today Show. Her friendly, approachable, and empathetic style made the audience trust her and feel a genuine connection. She became not only a host, but almost like a friend to millions of viewers who tuned in daily. During her journey at GMA, Robin conducted historic interviews with celebrities, politicians, and public figures of great importance. But she also stood out for turning her own life into part of the journalistic content. When she received a breast cancer diagnosis in 2007, she did not hide the disease. On the contrary, she decided to share each stage of the process with the public. Years later, in 2012, when she faced myelodysplastic syndrome and needed a bone marrow transplant, once again she shared her struggle with viewers, bringing visibility to little-known diseases and inspiring thousands of people who were facing similar battles. This decision to open her private life to the public ended up redefining her career, because it made Robin not only a journalist, but also a voice of hope, courage, and health advocacy. This closeness with the public further consolidated her position in American journalism. The impact of her career has been recognized with numerous awards and honors. In 2012, she was inducted into the National Association of Broadcasters Broadcasting Hall of Fame. In 2014, she received the Walter Cronkite Award for Excellence in Journalism, one of the most prestigious in the field. Furthermore, her presence became so relevant that in 2012 she was named one of the 100 most influential people in the world by Time magazine. These recognitions were not only reflections of her journalistic competence, but also of her ability to inspire and transform lives through television. Over the years, Robin Roberts also expanded her work beyond GMA. She began to get involved in special television projects, documentaries, and even independent productions. In 2014, she founded her own production company, Rock and Robin Productions, dedicated to developing inspiring and diverse content for various platforms. This initiative demonstrated that even after decades on the air, Robin continued innovating and seeking new ways to tell stories. The most impressive thing about Robin's career is that she never lost her essence. Even in the face of stardom, she remains with the same friendly, down-to-earth attitude, carrying an authenticity that is rare in the television world. Today, when looking at her trajectory, one sees a woman who began at small local stations, faced prejudice, broke barriers, shone at ESPN, became the face of one of the most watched programs in the country, faced and overcame health battles live before the public, and above all, transformed her pain into inspiration for millions of people. The story of Robin Roberts cannot be told without mentioning the illnesses and crises that shaped her life. These painful moments built her image as a courageous, transparent, and inspiring woman who turned her struggles into messages of hope. The first major blow came in 2007 when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. Already established on Good Morning America, Robin made the bold choice to share her journey publicly, surgery, chemotherapy, and the side effects. The image of her hosting the show with a shaved head became a symbol of courage and identification for millions of women. After overcoming cancer, She believed the hardest chapter was behind her. But in 2012, she was diagnosed with myelodysplastic syndrome, MDS, a rare and serious blood disorder that required a bone marrow transplant. Her sister, Sally Ann Roberts, was a compatible donor and gave Robin the gift of life. The treatment demanded months of recovery and isolation, while she also faced another heartbreak: the death of her mother, Lucy Marion Roberts, shortly before the most critical stage of treatment. Experiencing both grief and physical fragility, Robin chose not to hide her suffering. She often repeated her mother's phrase, "Turn your mess into your message." With this mindset, she found strength to inspire others, proving that vulnerability could be transformed into resilience. Her return to Good Morning America in February 2013 was a historic moment in American television. Millions watched with emotion as she came back after months away, celebrating not only the presenter but the survivor who faced death and returned more determined than ever to cherish life. Years later, Robin confronted another challenge when her longtime partner, Amber Lane, was diagnosed with breast cancer. This time, Robin stood on the other side as caregiver. She accompanied Amber through every stage of treatment, supporting her with love and once again sharing part of that journey publicly. It reinforced her image as a symbol of companionship, love, and resilience in personal relationships as well. Beyond the physical illnesses, Robin spoke openly about the psychological toll, moments of depression, anxiety, and fear, especially during post-transplant isolation. She admitted that loneliness and exhaustion nearly broke her, but emphasized that faith, family, friends, and the love of the public kept her moving forward. Robin Roberts became more than a television presenter. She became a living example of strength, faith, and humanity. Her battles prove that vulnerability can be transformed into power, and her story continues to inspire millions worldwide. Robin Roberts, in addition to being one of the most respected journalists in the United States, has built over the years a story of courage and authenticity in the realm of love life, sexual identity, and relationships. For many years, her personal life remained rather private. After all, as the host of one of the most watched shows on American television, she always knew that every intimate detail could be exposed and judged by the public and the press. However, with time, she realized that her journey, marked by difficult moments, would only make sense if it were lived transparently, without fear of embracing who she truly was. This process of acceptance was not immediate but gradual, the result of deep reflections and her experiences with health adversities that allowed her to see life from a new perspective. Robin grew up in a time when speaking openly about sexual identity could mean putting an entire career at risk, especially in public fields such as television journalism. Even so, she always sought to be honest with herself and with those closest to her. For a long time, she kept her love life away from the spotlight, until in 2013 she decided to publicly acknowledge her relationship with Amber Lane, a massage therapist with whom she had been since 2005. The announcement was made in an emotional Facebook post where Robin thanked her partner for support during her battles with cancer and for being by her side in her most vulnerable moments. This revelation was received with immense affection from fans, who saw in the anchor not only a journalist, but also a courageous woman who chose to share her truth. The relationship between Robin and Amber then became a symbol of resilient love and true partnership. For years, the two maintained a relatively discreet lifestyle, even after the public revelation. Robin always made a point of preserving the couple's intimacy, but in interviews, she did not fail to declare Amber's importance in her life, recognizing her as a fundamental pillar in her personal and professional journey. The relationship gained even more visibility when, in 2022, Robin announced that she and Amber had plans to officially marry, revealing that after almost 2 decades together, they had decided to wed. The news was celebrated enthusiastically by the public and by the LGBTQ+ community, who saw in this step yet another demonstration of authenticity and representation. Another important aspect of Robin's love life is the way she transformed her experience into inspiration for others. In several interviews, she has spoken about the impact of living openly with her sexuality, reinforcing that being true to oneself is liberating, even when risks are involved. Her statements have always carried a tone of encouragement, especially for young people who face similar dilemmas. By sharing her journey, she helped break down barriers and prejudices, showing that happiness lies in living truthfully and having by your side someone who truly supports you. Of course, like any couple, Robin and Amber have also faced challenges. In 2021, Amber was diagnosed with breast cancer, and Robin, who had already fought her own battles with the disease, took on the role of caregiver and devoted partner, showing that true love is revealed in the hardest moments. In interviews, Robin moved the public by recounting how painful it was to watch her partner go through the process, but she also made it clear that the experience brought them even closer together, strengthening the deep bond between them. This experience highlighted reflections on reciprocity, support, and the true meaning of companionship. Today, Robin Roberts is seen not only as a reference in journalism, but also as an example of love, courage, and authenticity. Robin Roberts, throughout her journey as a journalist and public figure, has always cultivated an image of professionalism, empathy, and resilience, but that did not stop her from experiencing defining moments that made history, both for her controversial statements and for the impactful revelations she chose to share with the public. These episodes not only sparked intense debates, but also brought profound lessons that shaped not only her personal life, but also the way millions of people came to understand the power of vulnerability and authenticity. From early on, Robin understood that being in front of the cameras carried a greater responsibility, not only to inform, but also to serve as an example of perseverance. It was precisely this open posture that led her to expose herself in situations other public figures might have preferred to keep silent. One of the first major controversial moments in her public life came in 2007, when she decided to reveal her breast cancer diagnosis. At that time, many celebrities chose not to discuss such matters, fearing exposure or appearing fragile before an audience accustomed to seeing them as strong. Robin, however, did the opposite. She announced her diagnosis on Good Morning America and, with courage, shared every step of her treatment, from chemotherapy sessions to hair loss. The decision divided opinions. Some felt she was oversharing, but the majority applauded her attitude, recognizing that her openness helped thousands of women confront their own realities. This episode marked the beginning of a pattern in her life. Robin never shied away from addressing delicate issues, even at personal risk. In 2012, another controversial moment unfolded when she announced that she had developed myelodysplastic syndrome (MDS), a rare bone marrow disorder resulting from her previous cancer treatments. Once again, she chose to be open with the public, revealing that she would need a bone marrow transplant and sharing the journey in real time. Her honesty sparked debates about how much a public figure should disclose such intimate health details, but at the same time, it ignited crucial conversations about bone marrow donation, inspiring thousands of people to register as donors. The controversy ultimately became a collective lesson, and Robin was seen as an essential voice for causes related to health and battling serious illnesses. Another moment of great repercussion came in 2013, when she publicly came out about her sexuality and her relationship with Amber Lane. Although it is more common today for public figures to speak openly about their sexual orientation, at the time there was still significant prejudice, especially in highly visible positions like hers. Robin announced her relationship in an emotional social media post, thanking her partner for standing by her during her hardest battles. The announcement was celebrated as an act of courage, but also stirred controversy. Some more conservative audiences criticized her revelation, while others questioned why it took her so many years to publicly acknowledge what she was already living privately. Robin responded gracefully, explaining that everyone has their own timing and deal with their identity, and that she had waited until she felt it was the right moment. This episode reinforced her role as a symbol of representation, but also highlighted how much prejudice still existed. Throughout her career, Robin has also been at the center of controversial statements in interviews, especially when speaking out on social and racial issues. As a Black woman in a position of prominence in American television, she never shied away from addressing racial inequality, drawing attention to lack of opportunities and the stereotypes faced by Black journalists. While her comments sometimes caused discomfort in certain sectors, Robin consistently emphasized the importance of using her platform to give voice to issues that were often silenced. This earned her both praise and criticism, but reinforced her image as someone unafraid to take a stand when she believed in something. In terms of lessons, Robin has always made a point to transform controversies and revelations into messages of hope. She often says that each difficulty was an opportunity to learn more about herself and about life, and that the greatest mistake will be to hide out of fear judgment in her books and lectures. She reinforces the idea that vulnerability can be one of human beings' greatest strengths, and that speaking openly about fears, losses, and insecurities is an essential step toward emotional healing. Today, Robin Roberts reaps the rewards of this posture. She is recognized as one of the most authentic and inspiring communicators in the United States, admired not only for what she has achieved on camera, but for the way she has chosen to live her truth, even when it meant facing criticism and controversy. Robin Roberts currently holds a position of prominence not only as host of Good Morning America, but also as one of the most beloved and respected personalities on American television. Today, in her early 60s, she is living a phase of stability, recognition, and maturity, the result of decades of dedication to journalism and a life marked by personal victories over challenges that could have brought her down. Her current situation reflects the way she has always conducted her journey, with authenticity, resilience, and a unique ability to transform moments of crisis into messages of hope. Professionally, Robin remains a central anchor of Good Morning America, a program where she has practically become a symbol. Her daily presence is not only journalistic, but also emotional, as many viewers see her as someone close, almost like a friend who enters their homes every morning, bringing not only information but also inspiration. This role goes far beyond the news. Robin has become a trusted face, a figure who conveys empathy in every word, and who does not hesitate to share her own struggles in order to connect with the public on a human level. This closeness is one of the great hallmarks of her career, and continues to be fundamental in her current situation, where credibility is an increasingly rare value in the world of communication. On a personal level, Robin is living one of the happiest periods of her life. After years of keeping her private life reserved, today she speaks with pride and peace about her relationship with Amber Lane, with whom she decided to formalize her union in 2023, in a ceremony celebrated as a milestone not only for them, but for the entire LGBTQ+ community. The union represented a symbol of love, resilience, and representation, showing that Robin has managed to balance a very public career with the building of a solid and affectionate personal life. More than just a wedding, this decision symbolized her full freedom to be who she is, without fear of criticism or prejudice, something many fans see as her greatest victory. Regarding her mission, Robin has made it clear in countless interviews and public appearances that she views her life as an opportunity to inspire, encourage, and give voice to those facing battles similar to her own. She knows that her story of fighting cancer, her experience as a caregiver to her partner during illness, and her openness about identity and relationships can serve as a light for those who feel alone in the face of difficulties. Her mission, therefore, goes far beyond informing. It is about sharing hope, transmitting courage, and using her own journey as a tool for transformation. This mission is evident in her engagement with social and health causes. Robin supports organizations that promote bone marrow donation, leads awareness campaigns about cancer, and speaks openly about mental health and the importance of asking for help. Her voice, backed by credibility, reaches millions and directly impacts the lives of people who might not otherwise have access to such information. In a world where so many celebrities use their visibility only for self-promotion, Robin stands out by using her platform for greater causes. When we talk about legacy, it is impossible not to recognize that Robin Roberts has already left her mark on the history of American television. Her legacy is multifaceted. As a journalist, she paved the way for Black women to occupy prestigious spaces in broadcast journalism. As a survivor of serious illnesses, she showed that vulnerability is not weakness, but strength. As a woman living her sexual identity with authenticity, she contributed to the expansion of representation in the media. Her legacy is not only professional, but deeply human. She represents a victory of courage over fear, transparency over silence, and hope over adversity. Today, Robin Roberts is remembered not only for what she has achieved on air, but also for what she has accomplished off-screen. She has become a reference point, showing that it is possible to face the fiercest storms and still bloom, that being true to oneself is the safest path to happiness, and that using one's voice to help others is the noblest way to live. Her current situation shows a fulfilled woman, yet still deeply engaged, who does not see her journey as complete, but as a continuous mission to inspire and transform. The legacy Robin builds is, above all, a heritage of authenticity, courage, and love. One that will remain alive long beyond her presence in front of the cameras. And we've reached the end of this video about the emotional and surprising news involving Good Morning America host Robin Roberts. Her journey, full of challenges and moments of overcoming, continues to inspire millions of people around the world, but also shows us how life can be marked by painful twists and turns. If this content touched you in any way, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like, because that really helps YouTube recommend our videos to more people and motivates us to bring even more complete and revealing stories. I also want to ask you to leave your comment down below. What surprised you the most in this story? Your opinion is very important and makes this community even richer. And before you go, don't leave without watching the video that is appearing on your screen right now. I guarantee that it is even more interesting and more passionate than this one, and you definitely won't want to miss it. It is important for us to keep this exchange alive. And before you leave, don't forget to watch the video that is appearing on your screen right now, because it is even more interesting and more captivating than this one. Click and stay with us.